Today's guest is Mike Mallon, founder of Storyteller Promotions, Marine Corps veteran, and champion of turning branded moments into lasting loyalty. From apparel to awards, Mike's team crafts experiences that speak louder than ads. Let's dive into the art of brand storytelling. This program is part of the Scene Project's podcast network. The Scene Project features interviews with independent musicians, comedians, and artists from across the Midwest. Become part of our community and support local art wherever you are. Well, welcome into another exciting episode of The Scene. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is Mike Buzz Mallon. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Good morning. Welcome.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on. I know we've spoken before on the phone, which is kind of a rarity with this show anymore. But I want to kind of lead off the show by giving you a chance to give us a little bit of backstory and tell us a little bit about, where you came from, and then we'll get into all the things that you're doing now.
Got it. So originally grew up in Brooklyn, New York, moved out to the island, joined the Marines when I was coming out of high school, did 6 years with the Corps, then came back to New York, was there until 1986, and then moved down to Texas, met my beautiful wife, and been bouncing around Texas and parts of the Southwest ever since.
So safe to say you prefer Texas to the New York City life?
Yeah, New York City is a great place to grow up and be from, but that was not where I want to continue to live. Came down to Texas on vacation and saw what it offered, and yeah, I went back, turned in my gun, my badge, said bye-bye, and moved to Texas.
Haven't looked back yet. So
no,
awesome.
No.
I've had the pleasure of traveling to the great state of Texas a couple of times this year. It'd probably been I guess I'd went through Texas on my way to Mexico and my way back. But that was all the way back in 2016. So it'd been about a decade, and went down to Austin back in May, and then went back to the Dallas Grapevine area. Had a podcast conference at the Gaylord Texan there in Grapevine. Gorgeous, man. That was awesome. We had a great opportunity with a conference called Podcast Movement that gave us one of their scholarship tickets. So somebody's going to give you a free ticket to a show, regardless of whether it's 15 hours of driving away and you really ain't got the gas money to do it. You show up. You don't be disrespectful, and you find a way. And you are someone, obviously with your military background, that you've always found a way. And now you're finding a way to bring brands and to tell the story of brands, which I think a lot of us fail to do accurately. So let's talk a little bit about Storyteller Promotions and what you guys are doing for companies now.
Got it. So we started in 2011 with the concept that there is a story behind every logo, every brand. And there are ways with promotional products, branded apparel, colors, textures, to reinforce that story to your audience on a consistent basis. Too often, I think people, without any guidance at all, just will go out there and find a tchotchke or swag. I hate that term, swag, but it is what it is. And there's no reinforcement to who you are as a brand. There's no time spent on that. So I'll use ours as an example. One of the things that got us started, the inspiration behind our company, was my wife and I went to go see the movie Up. We had been working in corporate America our entire careers, giving the best of ourselves to somebody else 14, 16 hours a day, and we really wanted to do something for us. And when we went and saw the movie, as in all Disney movies, in the first 10 minutes, somebody's got to die. We looked at each other like two high school kids, and we said, "That's it. We're not doing this anymore." So in the movie, the characters Ellie gives Carl a grape soda cap on a safety pin. That became their adventure badge. So we took the grape soda cap, and that became our logo. It's a reminder every single day of why we do what we do, and your your promotional products, your swag, should do that for you, and that's what we counsel on.
Well, and I think that you really tap into the entrepreneur spirit with that, right? Not just like your story is aligning with the people that you're trying to help as well, right? Like
Right.
you know their story or a little bit of it just inherently because it's a little bit of your story. And
Absolutely.
I think that's so important, especially in this business. And there's just so many of these apparel companies and swag shops online that you can buy these kind of products for, whether it's a koozie or, you know, stickers or t-shirts and all of these things. And as someone who's worked in the music business for 25 years now, I've kind of done it all. I've tasted a little bit of all of those things. What I like to do now, I print my own promotional materials at home. I don't have any of them with me because we handed them all out, but I call them tags. I would just print a piece of paper with our QR code on it and I would laminate them. I'd get 10 out of a thing and I'd literally sit at home laminating pages and cutting them up and cutting the corners on them. And that was my marketing materials because I was sick of spending money on something that was either going to get tossed on the ground, thrown away, or not necessarily get used, but it could still tell the story of our brand. And that story was, I'm going to be in your face and not afraid to hand this to you and to give you a 3-second pitch as you're walking by, say at the, you know, the Cinch Playoffs Governor's Cup just a few weeks ago that we covered. And what was great about that is that we were broadcasting it live. So you got to watch live on our YouTube feed and now on the replay of me just being me, what I've always done. I call it guerrilla marketing. I don't know if that's a term widely used, but we're going to get out at events and we're just going to put our stuff right into your hand. Mm-hmm. And if you can exacerbate that over the course of years and hitting all these kind of large scale events that some companies pay, you know, a team of, you know, whether it's models or it's just, you know, people that are working on their promotion team to go out and to pass out flyers and to build that image. Well, we've just done that for ourselves for the last, at least 3 to 4 years of building up our band's reputation. And now in the last 18 months with the scene projects.
Good for you.
And that's for no money, right? I mean, that's for the cost of paper, the laminate and those things, but it doesn't tell the whole story. And I feel like that's where your company kind of comes in, even for a small business like ours, is the helping us maybe refine that, taking a little bit of my story and looking at the last 18 months of doing this, seeing who it is that we really support and helping us to craft that to be able to bring one of a kind, you know, merch or apparel or whatever it happens to be to the table. Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, I think probably my wife always said it best. Unless you're Starbucks, a coffee cup doesn't tell you a story, right? One of my favorite ones of all time. We worked with a company that was, they were 2 CPA firms that were coming together, and one of them was your classic. Think of the old burgundy walls or green walls with the leather furniture, you know, that kind of that office vibe. And the other group was a very young group. They were new. They were thinking about things in a different manner. And we were actually able to put together a portfolio that was custom made just for them. With part of it was leather, part of it was burlap. So you had the two that were meeting with the logo in the center, and that was their giveaway or promotional product, if you will, to all their clients and prospects. And it communicated that the blending of two things coming together in a new way of looking at doing business. So, yeah, it's just a little bit of thought and using whether it's an item, a texture, a color, a series of colors, and bringing that all together. We used to work with a lady. She's actually achieved what she was trying to achieve with starting her business. Everything with her was turquoise, and it all came back to the fact that she was on a beach one day in the Caribbean and looked out over the turquoise water and wanted to be able to live in that environment, and knew that the only way she could do that was with her business and growing it. So uh, everything was built around that turquoise. It was a constant reminder for her and everybody she knew the why behind what she did.
And it's stories that sell, right? Something I repeat a lot is that, people don't buy from people they like. They buy from people they trust. Well, how do they get to trust someone? They hear their story. And how do you wrap that story up into a piece of something, whatever it is, right? A piece of apparel or whatever it is, a branding. How do you capture that? And I think for a lot of us, meaning artists or business owners, myself included in this, it's sometimes hard for us to know what our story is because we are the main character of it, that you need someone from the outside to go, this is what your story is. And not everyone has as clear of a vision as the client that you just spoke about it. We know here at the Scene Projects, especially, that we're about community, right? And we're a community of creatives, but how do you tell that story? And that becomes often a roadblock for me, to the point where sometimes I just completely, put it out of my mind and set it aside. And I get too focused up in the work and not in promoting our actual business, which at the end of the day isn't helping us or our community. So I think that I myself could be better at a lot of the things that you guys bring to the table. And maybe we have a budding future business relationship happening here as well. Would you say that that's pretty typical of a lot of operators and business owners?
Yes, I'd say the majority of people, entrepreneurs, small business owners, they're really good at doing something. They've got a talent or a skill, and they get out there, and before they know it, they're in it every day. And it's hard sometimes to just take that step backwards and look at why you do what you do, what inspired you to begin doing this, and then how do you communicate that story to the world around you. Because like you said, people buy from people that they like and trust. They buy the why of what you do, not necessarily what you do. And that inspires people.
And I think that's hard, for a lot of people, even if you have a great product, even if that's a unique product, not everyone is going to buy that just because it's unique and you think it's the most amazing thing in the world, even if it is the most amazing thing in the world. You have to tell a story with that. And if you're someone like we are, right, where we have a whole house of brands, we have 4 networks, 10 shows, 5 different hosts, you're trying to tell a lot of stories. And sometimes, I mean, that in itself would be a full-time job for any one of us to do. Meanwhile, I'm also trying to run all of it, right? So I lose a lot in that. And we're not even necessarily a large company. Most of us are independent operators inside of that. So I can only imagine someone that's, an accounting firm you mentioned. Well, those accountants opened a firm because they're really good at accounting, not because they were really good at making a brand and marketing that brand to bring in clients. That's not what they were, not the world they were coming from. So what other maybe, examples could you give, or, maybe just some advice that you could give our listeners who are mostly independent business owners, whether they realize it or not, as, artists or podcasters or whatever they may be doing in their lives. What's one piece of advice that you could give some of these with maybe an example attached to it?
Well, it's going to sound very self-serving when I say this, but you do you, right? There's a reason why you do what you do, and there's a reason why I do what I do. There's a reason why there's brain surgeons and attorneys and all these other things. You have a skill or a talent in a specific area that can serve the world and help your community. Focus on that. Let somebody else focus on the marketing or human resources or whatever else that skill is that you don't have. Go to somebody else that does that for a living. you're going to be significantly more complete when you've got somebody handling that for you. And it doesn't cost any more than it would normally cost to buy the stuff. I think what's unusual about our industry is, and I hear this all the time, and that's my complaint, is somebody who's looking for something unique as a promotional item calls the distributor, and that distributor sends you a catalog and says, here, look at this. My job, my responsibility is not to give you a catalog for you to find something. My responsibility is to take the time to figure out who are you, who are you trying to communicate to, where are they when they're going to think about you, and then what can I put in their hands that they're going to wear, use, and keep that has your brand on it. Anything short of that, and I'm doing you a disservice. So that's my answer to it, is find somebody who is going to guide you through the process, not just hand you a catalog.
And I think that's great advice beyond the marketing and the promotional side, and really in everything, right? If you're awful at keeping your books, maybe looking into a business manager or someone that's a professional in that world. I feel like I'm speaking to myself a little bit here, that can do those things and that can manage the things that so that you can be effective. And exactly. I think that's something that, a lot of business owners lose sight of, that we think that we have to do it all. And sometimes you're not your most effective when you're trying to wear hats that just don't fit.
Absolutely. I do it myself. I mean, we've all made the same mistakes. Is that, I know how to do that. I can handle it. And yeah, maybe you can handle it. Maybe you can do it yourself. There's plenty of clients that we've had that will go directly to our website and pick something out. They enjoy that process. And I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying if you're in a position where you just don't know what to do and you want to do something different, maybe that's when you need to take a step back and go, let me give this to somebody who handles this full time, somebody who really enjoys that side of the business. I happen to enjoy getting creative and finding things for people that are unique, things that make them just go, wow, where was that? Or I've never seen anything like that before. That gives me joy. So if it doesn't, if you're not that person that all that doesn't give you joy, then don't do it. Do what you do well.
I think there's a lot of great advice in here, and a lot of things for our artists and creatives that are fans of the show to think about, that maybe don't think of themselves necessarily as businesses of their own, but you truly are. If you're out here trying to make it as an artist and as a musician or a podcaster or any kind of creator or any other, entrepreneur out there, there's a lot of value that you can gain from this short conversation we've had today. Mike, give you a chance. Go ahead and plug your guys' website and anywhere else that people can find you.
Yeah, we're storytellerpromotions.com. Find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, pretty much any place. Yeah, we're 713-705-4400 is direct line right to us.
I love it. Well, Mike, thanks for taking some time for me today. I have a feeling that we're going to be talking a little while after the show here as well about how you can help the Scene Projects continue to, carry this momentum that we've been building for the last 18 months. I want to thank you for your time and thank you for being part of the scene.
Well, thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate it, bud.